Welcome to the Real Estate Investing Podcast, where we help you unlock your potential freedom through land investing, real estate investing, and entrepreneurship. Hey everyone, this is episode 142 of the Real Estate Investing Podcast, discussing our personal land investing growth over the years. I'm your host, Daniel Apke, joined again by my brother and business partner, Ron Apke. Before we get into the show, let's go over a question from one of our featured Discord members. Today's question is from Jackie. Jackie asked, I'm getting ready to send out my first mailer, and most of my offers are over $20,000 purchase price. I would need funding on any of these that I get back. How hard is it to get funding as a beginner?
Really good question. And I feel like this has been coming up a decent amount. So this is definitely a good question, Jackie. I appreciate this question. I wouldn't say it's difficult. It's definitely not something, it's not like automatic. If you find a good deal, you're going to get funding because you got to take some initiative yourself. But that being said, if you get a $30,000 deal that's worth $65,000, you're going to get deal funding pretty fast for that. If you can get the due diligence, get it to the deal funders, submit it to us, whatever it is. I love funding deals for new people. I love helping out new people on their first, second, third deals because I know we can provide a lot of value to you guys. So it's not difficult. If you can become really good at finding deals, you're going to find good deal partners. You just want to make sure when you do get the deal funding, you take care of your investors. It's extremely important for long-term relationships to build a sustainable business, is taking care of your investors, making sure that you're going as fast as you possibly can with the deals.
Yep, exactly. Thinking long term, not short term. Taking care of your investors is really, really important and really, really overlooked as well, because once you do 10, 20 deals, you have one good relationship that pays off more than anything. You don't want to be bouncing back and forth between them, treating all your investors or having things sit for 8 months or whatever that is, Ron. That's very, very important. I'm glad you brought up that point. But let's get into today's show discussing our personal land investing story, Ron, our growth over the years, and kind of where we're heading. But first thing I want to start off by saying is our journey was not just up, 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 right? There's
No.
ups and downs, and it's not just one consistent ride up, guys. It's a journey of multiple ups and multiple downs. But by staying consistent in this business, things do pay off. But that's what I wanted to start by saying. Like, we're going to talk about where we're getting, where we started, but I just want to throw that out there first because there are so many times where Ron and I were asking the same exact question you guys are asking, or maybe things weren't working out as we thought at some points, or, things get hard in business. It's not
Yep.
just one consistent ride up, Ron.
Yeah, the results aren't always consistent. What you need to keep consistent is your action as best as possible. And then the results will consistently go up over time. But you're going to have those little pitfalls. You're going to have months where you might lose money, whatever it is. And that's just the reality of any business, guys. This business, like Daniel talks about a lot, is a level 10 opportunity, but there's going to be pitfalls. There's going to be struggles. There's going to be things where maybe you put the wrong address on 3,000 mailers. Like those are things that we've had happen, and you spend
Shout out to Mike.
$2,000 exactly on mail that has no chance of really yielding you a deal. So, I mean, you got to keep your action consistent. Your results will be not inconsistent, but maybe on a week to week, on a year to year basis, your results are going to be constantly going up if your action is going up as well, if your action is consistent.
Exactly. And that's the thing. Like last week, Mike did send out, and we've done it too, Ron. And Mike's on the top of my head because he just sent out thousands of mailers with whatever, it was formatted wrong. There's no address or something, or there was no phone number. I can't remember the exact situation, but he screwed up all of his mailers. And he's like, okay, he was pretty bummed about it. It's a big waste of money. Mailing's expensive. Not saying that's why we double and triple check things. But a week later, here we are, Ron, and today he got a $160,000 property under contract that he bought for 60 something thousand dollars. So it does balance out. You just got to keep moving forward. Mistakes are going to happen. Put them in the rearview mirror, remember them, learn from them, but keep moving forward. It's the biggest thing to know. And Ron, let's dive right into it. How many mailers were we starting out when we first started out? How many mailers were we sending a month?
Probably like six maybe, Dan. I don't want to say too high. Was it less than that? 4 to 6 maybe
No, it was
is
more. The
probably,
first month ever, we sent 10.
did we?
Yes.
Oh, it was a while ago. So sorry, guys. But yeah, I mean, Daniel and I both are action takers, and like I guess we did dive headfirst into it. this wasn't my full-time job, even though it wasn't making money, it wasn't producing money. Obviously, when you're just sending mail that first couple of weeks, you're spending money, but we know we're investing it in the future. So I guess we did 10,000 that first month. And you want to talk about that?
Yeah, and I think part of it was, like, we were really eager to get started, we wanted these leads, and like I said, we were just really eager to get started, I was eager to quit my job, and we had our mission and goals in front of us, and that's kinda what drove us to being that aggressive, and also I had capital from prior businesses, and Rod had some capital from his previous job as well. So we just dove full in and sent 10,000. We bought into it 100%, bought into the mission and just ripped it out. And I'll tell you, we didn't get a deal for a while. Like, I wish we had the training that was around today with us. Like, I don't remember how many mailers we sent before we got a deal around, and we were struggling at first.
Yeah, I mean, it like you said, like it was the consistent effort that we did. Like we didn't quit after that first month. We made adjustments for sure. Like you got to make adjustments in your business um by results, and that's really important. But that being said, like yeah, I mean, it was hard at first. Like we were $30,000 in the hole. Just to be 100% honest, we made so many mistakes that we help you guys avoid. So I think that's a big thing. Like $30,000 then like might be like you might get three, four, $5,000 in the hole now before you make that $50,000. So that's what we try to do here is help you guys avoid those pitfalls. But there's still going to be downs, Dan. Like I don't want to act like there's not going to be lows to this business, I guess.
Oh yeah, of course. And there's always downs. There's still there still is downs even in our business, Ron. Like, acquisition rate might be down, it might be up the next month, or now our downs are different because we are scaling a business. Some of our downs might be, we're having employee issues, or we have to get rid of an employee, or we got to hire 3 employees, which is extremely time consuming. And that's not a downfall, but there's just different things as you scale a business. Your stress goes in different areas, I would say.
Yep.
At first, you're more micro focused in, okay, I need to get this 10,000 mailers out, this 8,000 mailers out. Oh, I didn't hit it. Now my acquisitions are low. And that's a down, or that 6,000 mailers didn't yield me a deal. That's a big low. Now we don't even look at the mailing ratio because we know it's going to all balance out to one deal every 2,000 mailers or so, Ron. And that's the biggest thing. But we sent out 10,000, took us a long time to get it. The average deal, guys, just if you guys are new listening here, we get a deal per every 2,000 mailers. So that's extremely unusual to send out that much mail without getting a deal back. But we didn't have the training and stuff we have now. But Ron, within 6 months or so, by staying consistent, staying aggressive, we were able to make about a $500,000.
Yeah. I mean, those first 6 months, the first like 2, 3 months, like it was all right, just a bunch of sales. Daniel on the phone all the time, me getting the mail out. And that's what we were doing. We were grinding on that. Any deal that came back, like we were doing deep due diligence, seeing if we can make anything work, trying to negotiate down on deals that had some defects. And we were grinding out these deals because we were making a lot of mistakes on the mailing process. And we were just making adjustments. Like we were making adjustments through that and we knew it was going to work. And then once month like 3, 4 hit, we felt really good about it. We were getting a ton of calls. We were getting whatever 5, 10 leads every single day. We would buy 3 to 5 properties a week or something like that, go under contract on 3 to 5. And we started to really roll. And I think that's when we kind of saw like, okay, let's keep on scaling this up. We need to get some people in place. But yeah, those first 6 months, we weren't doing huge deals either. That's the thing, Dan. Like our biggest profit deal the first 6 months might have been $50,000 or something like that. Where today, like we'll do that every month, every 2 weeks is pretty normal.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Now, like now more than ever, I'm seeing more 100,000 plus dollar deals coming back. Ron, back then, that was for us personally unheard of. Like, we were buying for 10, selling for 25, almost every single deal. Buying
Mhm.
for 8, selling for 17, buying for 20, selling for 40, stuff like that. And now we're trying to get that because it's the same operational stress, guys. It's the same work. It's the same amount of phone calls you're making to the seller. It's the same amount of negotiation. $80,000 property, $20,000 property, all the same process, except one has much more profit in it. And that's kind of our goal this year, is to attack those bigger deals, get our salesperson on the phone with as many deals as possible. And that's our goal. And I think that's the way to ultimately scale this business, Ron, is just attacking bigger deals with more profit in them. Not saying we don't like a buy for 20, sell for 45, but you can get a buy for 200, sell for 400, and
Yep.
this almost the same amount of work.
Without a doubt. And once we hit that 6 months, Dan, I think that's when we first like realized, okay, we need to hire some people. We're making too much money for this to be just Daniel and I. Like we needed to evaluate where we're spending our time and how our time can be more profitable, essentially. Because Daniel and I were working a ton, 60 hours a week, doing all this at a huge, huge scale. And we are still learning quite a bit and taking notes and trying to adjust processes. But that's when that first American hiring a first like American like full-time person is the most difficult hire. Like it's a big hurdle, I think, in people's businesses. And I remember that for us too. But we had a conversation. It's just like we need someone to do our due diligence. We need someone to do our transaction coordinator stuff. I was doing transaction coordinator at the time. Daniel was doing due diligence. We thought that is a normal skill for a transaction coordinator to have for them to do due diligence also be very, very organized. So that is when we kind of started that hiring process for our first employee.
Yeah, that first employee, like you said, that's the most difficult to overcome, I think. Once you hire first American employee, it becomes less scary over time. Definitely that hump was one of the biggest hurdles. We did not hire for a while.
W
Like
2, Dan. Like we keep saying
it's a
American W 2.
yeah, 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 W-2, not overseas. Like, yeah, well, I come from I come
Yeah.
from, you know, blog businesses and Amazon
Yeah.
businesses and
VAs.
e-commerce, and hiring American employees from the industries I'm from wasn't even a thing. So that's why I call it that. It was all overseas VAs and things like that. So it was our first W-2 American employees what we hired. The profit margins in this business are so tremendous. It's just there's a lot of room for employees. But Ron and I probably held on longer than we needed to with
Yep.
the things we're doing, I think. And we could have outsourced it sooner, yeah, but I don't know. We were just probably just a little nervous to hire, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure. My wife was pregnant. Daniel was trying to leave his sales job, or maybe he left his sales job by then. He was trying to move on from another business. So like we wanted to be smart with our money. We wanted to make sure like, okay, this is the real deal. And like once that month 5, 6 hit, like we looked at our pipeline, we looked at what we've already sold, we look what we have under contract, and you're like, okay, we have more, like we can pay for 10 of these transaction coordinators if we needed it. Let's just let's hire one, keep them busy, and that's going to just help us scale our business. And that's what it did, Daniel. Like that took so much off of both of our plates, like even amount of off of both of our plates. So you could focus on the sales aspect because you were still doing that, and I could focus on the data and that part of the business.
Yeah, exactly. And one good deal pays for one transaction coordinator salary for the whole year, just to put it in perspective. So it's just it makes sense to hire, take the work off, put your work in things that you know are going to move the business forward in the best way, gonna make you a more sustainable, more profitable business. That's where you need to put your energy in your processes if you're a process person. Put your energy in your process, put your energy on your pricing, whatever that is. Put your energy on hiring. Those are the things that make a big business. That's how you grow a business. You can't grow a business by doing due diligence. That's not growing a business. Yes, you're gonna feel like you're working hard, which
Yeah.
you are. I'm not downing the process at all, but that's not growing your business. You're doing due diligence. That's like if you own a contracting company and you're actually installing the fence in my backyard. You're not growing a business by installing the fence. You're installing a fence, right? So putting your emphasis on things that's how we got to the point where we are today is putting emphasis on things that we know grow the business. And we're going to hit 10 to $15 million of revenue this year. And we do that by no, I'm not making sales calls anymore. Ron's not pricing anymore. We're focused on hiring. We have interviews all week. I'm flying up to Cincinnati tomorrow. We have interviews all week. We're focused on hiring the right people. We're focused on our culture. We're focused on providing extremely
Yep.
good education to our employees, Ron, trying to build future leaders. Those are the things we're really focused on to hit that 10 to $15 million of revenue, Ron. That's where we're going. We just talked about where we started, Ron, struggling within 3 months. The first 2, 3 months, we didn't even get a deal. Now we're talking about hitting 10 to $15 million this year. And we're doing that through outsourcing to really, really solid employees. We can't do this ourselves. We
Yep.
definitely can't do this ourselves. We got to build a company.
Think about the difference in like you said, doing due diligence versus reviewing due diligence. There is it's one word difference, but the time and the value aspect of those two different roles that I mentioned are tremendous. Doing due diligence, gathering data, calling counties, getting a deed, all this different stuff is very, very time consuming. It might take an hour. where I broke that when we hired that first employee. We took that from that being an hour of, I think Daniel was doing it at that time, to then we were both kind of reviewing, and it took 5 minutes each. So they had all the due diligence done, and we review it, and we have another hour of our to put into other aspects to build. And that's how you scale, like by turning those like tasks into you're doing, now you're reviewing. I was pricing 6 months ago. Now I'm reviewing pricing. And in another 3 months, I'm not going to be doing any of that because we'll trust our data analysts to do that ourselves. So taking those 5 hour tasks and turning them into 30-minute tasks or whatever it is, training properly is so important. It's going to take so much off your plate on the front end where you can do the bigger picture, like Daniel said, the growing aspects.
Yeah, exactly. And the most recent thing around we outsourced that really is helping our company is our recruiting, because that was taking a ton of time,
Yep.
Ron. And I just want to throw like we now hired a part-time person to help recruit and help us hire, because that was kind of a bottleneck we were having. It was hard for us to get these employees in, especially as we're starting to really, really grow and amp things up, Ron. Then we outsource that, and we're going to see a return on that. Like we're interviewing really, really good, solid candidates. It's not taking our time to look through all these resumes. They're doing that on the front end. Then when they bring us to us for a 30-minute, then we do an in-person one. And that's kind
That's a
of
good
how that
point.
process. That's just a more recent example of it, Ron. Let's talk a little bit more about where we're going. Like I talked about our numbers, okay, 10 to 15 million dollars of revenue this year, Ron, but where are we going in terms of like our mission and our future? We talked about bigger deals. Let's touch a little bit on that, but let's talk about where we're actually going in the land investing space. What are we looking to do? How are we adapting to all the changes?
Yeah, so like you said, there's a couple main things in my mind, and things that we are actively doing this quarter to kind of get where we are. The first thing is bigger deals. Like Daniel said, like doing bigger deals. I want to do 7 figure deals. I want to buy 7 figure properties. We have the money behind us where we can partially fund it. Someone else can, whatever it is. But we have a lot of partners behind us where we can take on these 7 figure deals. There are deals out there. I'm telling you guys, and there are real deals out there of buying for 1.2 million and selling for 2.1 million. There are deals out there. There are people who fund those deals all day long. There's a lot more liquid capital out there than you realize. And then the other thing is some project based stuff, adding more value to our land, whether it's adding a driveway, adding an easement, subdividing and creating more, like we talked about a couple episodes ago. Those are our two main focuses for what we're doing. I'm not saying we're still doing the buy for 10, sell for 25, buy for 20, sell for 45, and we're sending that mail, but we are
For
sending a
now.
high volume of uh, priced mail that we would never have sent 18 months ago.
Yeah, and a lot of it comes down to the confidence that we actually know it works, and we have a good salesperson in place, and our processes are solid enough to know that if we get that $300,000 property back, that's good. We're going to be able to buy it. We're going to buy this. We're going to move it through title. And we're going to buy it in 10 days, just like any other property. But if you guys are just starting out, don't go attacking $1.2 million. Or $1.2 million properties. I wouldn't personally. Learn land, learn the basics. I keep saying that, guys. Learn the basics, learn how to buy and sell land. And then as you scale up, you do 5 to 10 properties, then look for those $1.2 million properties. They are out there. Ron just said it. They're out there. I'm just waiting for someone in our group to get a 7 figure deal, Ron. It's coming. I'm telling you, we had a bunch of 200, 300s last week on the call. $1 million property is going to be coming soon, I would imagine, Ron.
It'll be a good one. I'm telling you, it's land. The thing is, land value is increasing every single year. Like through this recession, land value is not going down. I don't know if it's definitely not increasing like it was last year or 2 years ago. But land value is constantly increasing. So yeah, I definitely see those 7 figure deals coming from our community, from us, everything like that. And one thing to keep in mind, Dan, like, and I told our transaction coordinator who deals with like a lot of our investors, so people who fund our deals. And I told her like we are not funding any more of our deals. It is, and that might be surprising to a lot of people, but we have a lot of good relationships with people who are fund our deals. And that's one thing we are going away from. And I told her I will not buy any more properties myself. Not for any reason, like I believe in the market and all of this, but I want to be able to invest in employees. I want to be able to invest in other aspects, into improvements on land, whatever it is. But that is a huge part of our business that we are completely going away from, at least ideally.
Well, and deal funding is becoming a big part of our business too. So we
Exactly.
spend our own money a
Partnering.
lot on deal funding as well, and that's the thing, guys. Like as we're scaling up Apke Land in our land investing firm, right? That gets bigger and bigger. We're learning all kinds of things, testing all kinds of things over there. We're scaling up land investing online, the educational platform. That's growing and growing and growing, but we're taking everything we're learning from Apke bringing it over to the educational side of things to teach the best way of doing things in our mind. And as that grows, we get more people bringing great deals to us, needing money, right? We're trying to provide freedom to people. How are people going to get freedom if they don't have deal funding? And Ron
Yep.
and I provide a lot of value on the upfront. If it's your first deal or second deal or third deal, like we can help you through the process. And that's kind of where our own personal money, like the business money, is going. And then we can have funding for all of our Apke deals through a great set of networked investors that took us years to build up.
It's every week now, Dan. I'm sending. I mean, this morning it was 120,000. I think like every our members, our students, our people in our network are bringing so many good deals. That's where I want to put our personal money to, and then we'll have our outside people who aren't land investors bring us money for our deals, and that's how we're kind of organizing things. But I want to keep that money from Apke Land, like you said, to investing in our members' deals because there's so much value there for them and how much assistance we help them with the deals, and then they're also just bringing really, really good deals. So I'm really excited to kind of be able to partner with as many of you guys as possible.
Yeah, exactly. And we're trying to scale that because it's not really a fear of mine because I know we're doing things to avoid it, but we're teaching like people are bringing such good deals around. I would hate for someone to not be able to get good funding on a good deal, which isn't a thing, and I haven't seen that happen. But we're trying to prevent that from happening because we're we have a large we talked earlier in this about how put your emphasis on things that are going to move the business forward. One way to move the business forward in this is raising more money. So we have a large amount of capital right now through outside investors that are liquid and have real money, and that's kinda where we put our energy the last few months around, and it paid off.
Yeah. And these outside investors, like they make a ton of money on when they fund our Apke land deals. But it's also a good deal for us. So yeah, I think just spreading our money out through the right places, through the right avenues is a really big aspect of that. But I'm excited for those six-figure deals. Like it used to be like once every 6 months or something like that. It's multiple every month we have through us, our Apke land, and then invest or members bringing those too. Like these six-figure deals, and I'm seeing $300,000 deals. It's really cool to see.
I mean, just today, Mike we signed the contract for Mike's deal. It's 160,000. I talked about that at the beginning, Ron, but
Bought for 67.
bought for 67,000, sold for 160,000, legit buyer with 1,500 down. So those are
5,000. No,
stories.
he moved it 5,000 down.
$5,000 down. So these are stories that are actually happening and people are scaling those numbers up. I'm excited to see more continued higher dollar amounts in the group run. I don't have too much more to add, guys. As always, thank you for joining. Please do us a huge favor and like and subscribe our YouTube channel and share this with a friend. It really means the world to Ron and I, but more importantly, it could help change the life of someone else. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you next episode.